It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
The hangover from the weekend can be a painful one, whether it is by the way of beverages or by way of your sports team not delivering the result that you wanted. Well, we've got just the tonic. ZiFM Sport on a Monday. Manic Monday, that's why we call it Manic Monday. In the studio, Mike Madura, Alois Bunjira, me, Barry Manandi, and our producer, Sean Tafirenyika. What can you look forward to that will sort out that weekend hangover? Well, on the home front, the National Sevens rugby team, the Cheetahs, finished a respectable 6th in the inaugural World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series in Vina del Mar in Chile at the weekend of up and down performances.
In our international sport, golf takes center stage. Adam Scott was thrilled to make a winning start to 2020 after holding out for victory at a star-studded Genesis Invitational, where 9 of the world's top 10 golfers featured at Riviera Country Club. In Around the World in 60 will take off in the United States, where Kawhi Leonard says winning the first Kobe Bryant All-Star MVP was very special after scoring 30 points in Team LeBron's win over Team Giannis in Chicago. In the Netherlands, Gael Monfils won his second title in the space of 8 days as he swatted aside Canadian teenager Felix Auger-Aliassime in a lopsided Rotterdam Open final to retain the trophy. And we touched down in New Zealand, where the Hurricanes upended the Sharks in a cracking game of Super Rugby.
We then dive into the Casalago World Football Report, which kicks off in Serie A, where Antonio Conte says Scudetto challengers Inter gifted 2 goals to Lazio and was scared in the second half of their 2-1 Serie A loss last night. In England, that's a Premier League, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta was pleased with the Gunners' performance as they boosted their European qualification hopes with a 4-0 rout of Newcastle. And in La Liga, Real Madrid's title bid took a dent after Zinedine Zidane's log leaders were held to a 2-2 draw at home to Celta Vigo last night. A bonus ball, which is the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund scored 3 second-half goals as they crushed high-flying Eintracht Frankfurt to maintain their title challenge.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
In our local sports news, we lead, of course, with news of the Cheetahs, and we'll get to that momentarily. But just to let you know that our WhatsApp number 0731168045 is open and available to you. And we want to know your predictions for the big match tonight that's taking place at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea entertaining Manchester United. It's a big fixture no matter where their league positions is or are, because they're both chasing Champions League qualification. Let us know who you think is going to win, blue or red, Chelsea or Manchester United. Right, let's jump into news of Sevens rugby, where the National Rugby Sevens team, that's the Cheetahs, finished a respectable 6th in the inaugural World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series in Vina del Mar in Chile at the weekend, and it was filled with up and down performances. The Cheetahs were drawn in Pool D, where they qualified as group runners-up after they beat Brazil 21-14 and Mexico 24-15 before falling 24-19 to host nation Chile. In the quarterfinals, the Cheetahs were shut out 33-0 by Japan before navigating their way to a 6th place finish in the plate section of the tournament. We caught up with ZiFM Sport Rugby pundit and Zimbabwe under-18 rugby coach Gordon Pangetti, who says the Cheetahs continue to be riddled by lack of preparation.
I find the German team had been in camp for about 3 weeks. I'm in constant communication with Manasseh Sita, who is a former Zimbabwe Cheetah, but now playing for Germany. Germany eventually won this first round of qualifiers by beating Hong Kong, and that was just down to preparation. I don't think we don't have the quality of players. We do, but you need game time. You need to understand, the ability to work under pressure with certain defensive teams. I mean, they went to South America. The Chilean team caused them headaches. They played Brazil. It wasn't an amazing match. Yes, they won, but it wasn't convincing. So it's something they need to look at. Some of the combinations, some of the creativity is lacking for Sevens. We seem a bit more one-dimensional. And that happens because of lack of match play.
All right, now we talked about those patchy results, beating Brazil, beating Mexico, losing to Chile, and then the quarterfinals absolutely dispatched by Japan, and then being able to get that victory against Papua New Guinea, and then losing to Tonga in the 5th place playoff, so finishing 6th in that inaugural tournament, Mike. And unfortunately, the issue of preparation, emblematic of Zimbabwean sport generally, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in a sport like Sevens rugby, Barry, some of the things that were mentioned there by Gordon Pangetti are pivotal to the sport. You've got to work on combinations. You've got to work on discipline. You've got to work on set plays, because the nature of the sport demands that. And you can't do that if you don't prepare. You can't perfect that if you don't prepare. Issues like discipline, which is key in Sevens rugby. Your defensive discipline, your layout, your positioning, all those things come by repetition. Where do you get repetition? You get that in practice. That's where you get 2nd and 3rd and 4th and umpteenth chances. You don't get that in match situations in a competition, because every mistake is punished. You need to get to the tournament when you are near ready, or as ready as possible. And we saw it with Germany. A nation that, to be honest, 3-4 years ago we would have been turning our noses up at, is a nation now that is probably looking at Zimbabwe and saying, you know what, Zim will always be there for the taking.
And I'm glad you mentioned all those facets that come together to make up the game. And you didn't even mention conditioning, because that's taken as a gimme.
That's a gimme.
It should be there.
Any professional sports person should be fit.
Yeah.
Any professional sports person, beyond the fitness regime of the particular team that you play for, it is incumbent upon you personally to maintain your personal fitness levels. We see it so many times, Barry, in the football world, for example, in the elite leagues of Europe, where teams, just like now, let me give a current example. The teams from the Premier League were on the winter break. They were given a 2-week break. But what did we see from the Liverpool players? Alisson Becker went back home to Brazil, but every day he trained with Palmeiras with his brother. His brother is a goalkeeper there, but he was in every training session. We saw the same things with James Milner. We saw Sadio Mane. Mohamed Salah didn't even go back home. He remained at Melwood, and there was training. Virgil van Dijk was with Trent and the Ox in Dubai, I think it was. And they were training every day. So that's a personal choice. So it's incumbent upon our rugby players and our sports stars in Zimbabwe to realize and to know that it's not just the team environment that should get you up to speed in terms of your conditioning, in terms of your strength, in terms of your fitness levels, but you have got a personal responsibility to make sure that you're ready.
When it comes to the teams, it's about your combinations. It's about how you get together, come together, and become a team. And the team that came together was, of course, Germany, and they won the first tournament of the inaugural HSBC World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series after beating Hong Kong 10-0 in a hard-fought final at the Estadio Sausalito. That's out in Chile. Zimbabwe is among 13 nations that earned their place in the Challenger Series by finishing as one of the top-ranked nations in their regional competitions held in 2019, finishing third in the Africa Men's Sevens competition. Of course, this competition allows rugby-playing nations that aren't in that HSBC World Rugby Sevens Series to compete on a more regular basis.
Hi, this is Alexandra Maseko, and I'm the national basketball team captain, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Let's give you a local sports news roundup, starting with basketball, where a day after celebrating his 29th birthday with a match-winning performance, Zimbabwe international basketball star Vitalis Chikoko was presented with the perfect birthday gift after signing a 2-year contract extension with French top-flight club Levallois Metropolitans 92. The 2-meter tall power forward was already under contract at Metropolitans 92 until 2022 after signing a 3-year deal when he joined from another French club Elan Benoit Paul Lacote in June.
Go, Michael!
However, Chikoko's sparkling form, I winged it, and the listeners are none the wiser. Chikoko's sparkling form since joining the club has convinced Metropolitans 92 to offer him a new contract as they seek to keep hold of arguably the best player in the French top flight league at the moment.
You're done for the day, mate.
Cricket news: the Zimbabwe national cricket team will look to carry the momentum gained from their last test match against Sri Lanka when they take on the Tigers of Bangladesh in their own conditions in a one-off test match that starts at the weekend. Zimbabwe arrived in Bangladesh on Saturday ahead of the two-day warm-up match against the Bangladesh side starting tomorrow. Upon arrival, the tourists declared that they were looking to win every series that they will be involved in. And we wrap it up with athletics news, where Isaac Bofo from ZRP, Fairbridge and Harare's Fortunate Chidzivo were crowned men's and women's champions of the National Athletics Association of Zimbabwe Cross-Country Championships held in Harare at the weekend. Bofo beat a field of 28 to finish the 10-kilometer run in 30 minutes and 21 seconds. Moses Tarakino crossed the finishing line in 30 minutes and 34 seconds to claim second place, while Abel Chibanda was third in a time of 30 minutes and 36 seconds.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
Golf is front and center, but to remind you to keep your predictions coming in. Big game tonight at Stamford Bridge. It's blue versus red. It's Chelsea versus United. It's London versus the Northwest. Who will walk away with honours? We want to hear from you on WhatsApp 0731 168 045. That's 0731 168 045. Now, usually Barry would be asking for the hashtags NutriActive, but we are not.
We're not. We are waiting eagerly, sitting on the edge of our seats on tenterhooks, waiting for the draw. The draw is taking place at the end of this month. So if you participated in the Polenta NutriActive sports trivia throughout the month of January and the 2 weeks of February, then you are in the draw and will be in line to win one of those 7 big hampers out of Polenta NutriActive.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Australian Adam Scott was thrilled to make a winning start to 2020 after holding out for victory at a star-studded Genesis Invitational. 9 of the world's top 10 featured at Riviera Country Club, where Scott posted a final round 70 to claim a 2-shot victory and second triumph in his many worldwide starts. Scott's latest success follows his win at the Australian PGA Championship in December and is his first on the PGA Tour since 2016, with the title coming 15 years after his maiden win at the event.
Now, this is incredibly satisfying. It's a place I've loved for many years and played well at a lot of times, and to get an official victory here among one of the best fields we'll have this year feels very, very good. Yeah, it was a tough day, but this is a tough course, and when the pressure's on and a little windy, out of position isn't good, and I got myself out of position a couple times, but there was enough good stuff in there to make up for it.
Does this affect your run at the Masters?
Hopefully in a good way. Yeah, I feel good about it. I'm looking forward to obviously next week, but I'll enjoy this one this evening.
The Australian ended the week on number 11, or on 11 under and 2 shots clear of Song Kang, Scott Brown and Matt Kuchar, with world number 1 Rory Mcilroy a further stroke back after a final round 73. It was a star-studded field, Barry. 9 of the world's top 10 were in that field. Tiger Woods was there, Dustin Johnson was there, Brooks Koepka was there, Rory Mcilroy was there, all the sterling names. This was as good as a major, and of course the Australian will savour this victory, Barry. It puts him in good stead ahead of the Masters.
He certainly will, and I think he played the weekend very, very expertly, because I think we saw going into the weekend Matt Kuchar was doing all the priming. Little did we know that he was just a pace setter and was going to fall away, well, not fall away, but make way for Adam Scott, who was going to ultimately claim the top prize. And as you said, quite rightly say, it's sweeter. Any victory is good, but it's sweeter when you win against the best, you beat the best, and then then that gives you the momentum, especially going into a major with the Masters around the corner.
One of the players that he edged out was Rory Mcilroy. You know, he's regained that world number one spot. Now, he lost ground with a 3-putt triple bogey at the 5th and then dropped a shot at the par 3 6th, as of course Scott then made a 6-footer to save par at the 7th, and that was a crucial run of events there. You know what happened? There was I think a 4-shot swing, as it were, in favor of the Australian. And when you take a look at Rory's performances at the majors over the last 5 years, Barry, it's been that where he strings together 3 days of excellent golf, and then he has 3 or 4 bad holes on any of the one given days in the 4 days of a major, and he usually loses a chance at winning the major on those 3 or 4 holes, because he goes from the sublime to the ridiculous at times.
He really does. It's the moments with Rory, isn't it? The
when he
moments
loses
with
it, he loses
McIlroy,
it completely.
he loses it. You know, you can see him lead a tournament, and he'll go into a Saturday looking imperious and think, okay, he's going to do it, and he'll even have a fantastic front 9, and then on the back 9, 2, 3 holes, and boom, he's dropped like 6 shots, and he's out of contention completely. And it's been a part of his game for way too long. This is something that he needs to pull out of his game, pull it out quickly, because we can all see that he's one of the great ones. Indeed, he's world number 1. But in order for him to kick on, he's got to manage those moments.
Are you worried about Tiger? I mean, listen, this was his tournament. He hosts the tournament, and it wasn't a great performance from Tiger. It was decent on the first day, but it went downhill thereafter. And for me, I'll be worried about Tiger, because he says that his career is all about winning the majors, and if you're not exhibiting or showing any sort of form in the lead up to the majors, that should concern his supporters.
It's becoming an all too familiar script, whereby now, just like Rory can put together at least string together 3 days. Tiger at the moment can only string 1 or 2 days of good golf, and then you'll find that there are again moments that are letting him down. And I think, yes, I'm with you, very worried about Tiger. We want to see him back at the top, and we want to see him beat that record, because that's really all he's chasing. Can he do it? Shucks, I'm struggling to believe.
Let's take a look at the world top 10 rankings as we head towards the Masters. In 10th place is Xander Schauffele of the United States of America. Tiger Woods is in 9th. Webb Simpson is in 8th. Adam Scott, the Aussie, in 7th place. Patrick Cantlay, a name that is not familiar with a lot of rank golf fans, is in 6th place. And then Dustin Johnson is down to 5. Haven't ruled supreme over the last 3 years in the world of golf. Justin Thomas is in 4th. John Rum, the Spaniard, is in 3rd. Brooks Koepka is in 2nd place. And the Ulsterman, Rory Mcilroy, is in 1st position.
Hi, my name is Luke Bahamute, Los Angeles Clippers small forward, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
After Mike was rolling his tongue, we'll roll around the world.
I am from Limerick.
We believe
and
you.
County Antrim.
Let's go rolling around the world, shall we? And we take off in the United States, where Kawhi Leonard said winning the first Kobe Bryant All-Star MVP was very special and means a lot after scoring 30 points in Team LeBron's win over Team Giannis in Chicago in a fantastic game. Kawhi made it look effortless, nailing one 3-pointer after another and nearly matching an All-Star game record. The Claw hit 8 3-pointers to lead Team LeBron to a 157-155 victory over Team Giannis in a game that ended early this morning. What are you guys doing at the desk there? Anyway, let's continue and go across to the Netherlands, where Guy Monfils won his second title in the space of 8 days as he swatted aside Canadian teenager Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-2, 6-4 in a lopsided Rotterdam Open final to retain the trophy. The 33-year-old Frenchman, who came into the tournament on the back of a record-equaling third triumph in Montpellier the previous Sunday, converted 4 out of 11 break points as he denied his 19-year-old opponent a maiden ATP title. And here are your weekend Super Rugby results. The Hurricanes imperious over the Sharks, beating them 38-22 in a great game in periods. The Jaguars 43-27 over the Reds. The Lions beaten at home by the Stormers 33-30. The Brumbies beaten by the Highlanders 23-22 in a tightly contested affair. The Sunwolves were shown that the Chiefs were too good for them. 43-17, they were defeated. The Rebels upending the Waratahs 24-10, and the Crusaders getting back to winning ways 25-8 over the Blues.
The Castle Lager Premier Soccer League report on ZiFM Sport. The Nerazzurri, the Black and Blues, Inter Milan.
It's Romelu Lukaku, and it was never in doubt. He's a beast at the best of times, but this season he has become a monster.
The Giallorossi, the Yellow and Reds, AS Roma.
Belotti has a go! Tremendous hits! That's what he's capable of.
La Viola, the Purple Ones, Fiorentina.
Franck Ribéry seals a glorious win for Fiorentina with a sumptuous goal at San Siro.
The Bianconeri, the Black and Whites, Juventus.
Ronaldo seals yet another 3 points for Juventus.
Tough yet colourful. The best of Italian football on Z.
Kick-off is in Italy. Antonio Conte says Scudetto challengers Inter Milan gifted 2 goals to Lazio and were scared in the second half of their 2-1 Serie A loss on Sunday. Inter's halftime lead was erased as Ciro Immobile and Sergej Milinkovic-Savic completed a comeback for Lazio, who leapfrogged the Nerazzurri into second position. Conte's side started the weekend ahead of defending champions Juventus on goal difference, but by the end of their trip to Rome, Inter with 3 points off the pace in the race for the Scudetto. Now, Italian football expert Gabriele Macotti says Lazio keep proving doubters wrong.
I've been expecting Lazio to fall away, and evidently the bookies have too. But they keep proving me wrong, because they're absolutely relentless. They're very well organized. They have so many individuals who pop up at the right time, and I think crucially, this could be a really big thing between now and the end of the season. They have no European football. So they can prepare for every game, fewer injuries, more chance to recuperate. Look, they're not my favorites to win the title, but I think it's much, much closer than that. No way should it be 4-1.
The victory moved Lazio into second on 56 points, 1 behind leaders Juventus and 2 ahead of Inter in third. The result also saw the Roman club extend their club record unbeaten run in Serie A to 19 games as they ended Inter's own sequence of 16 games without a defeat. Alois Munjira is in the studio, our football pundit here at ZiFM Sport. And Alois, you've got to take a look at those 2 stats. Lazio unbeaten for 19 games. Heading into this, Inter was unbeaten for 16 games. So this was a game between 2 teams who were bang on form, and Lazio surprisingly came out on top.
Surprisingly,
that's for the fans, because if you had taken a poll on Friday asking people to predict, I bet you 90% would have said Inter will win.
Yeah, probably they would have thought that this was going to be the end of the unbeaten run for Lazio.
Yeah,
I do understand, but it was always going to be tight. You know, I don't know what's happening with Lazio. It seems like they've got this some spirit that is pushing them. Everything is just working out for them. You know, remember the Leicester days when they won the league? It just seems like there is something, there's some unnatural power that is driving them. You know, and it's quite exciting for me. Personally, I'm excited. You know, of course, I would have loved Inter to win, but then there is Lazio. There's the new challenge. I actually thought that Inter are going to put Juve all the way. Now Lazio comes in. I'm equally excited now. There are three of them fighting for the championship, and I would have loved to see a situation whereby Lazio play Juve like now. Next week.
Well, I think Inter and Juventus are playing in the next 2 weeks, so there's another big game that's on the cards now. Alois is talking about the spirit that's driving Lazio. Barry, you and I had a chat earlier, and you were talking about the impressive work that's been done by their coach Simone Inzaghi. He's built a formidable team.
He really has, because if you look at it, I mean, if we were to use the popular measure of net spend or any metric, you look at what's been done at Lazio. It's been done very quietly. It's been done with prudence. They've built a team, and you can see it by seeing the likes of Lucas Leiva, the player who scored the
rejuvenated
goal.
Lucas Leiva.
He's rejuvenated. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. I mean, now all the big teams want a piece of him, and they're gonna if they sell him, they're gonna
3
sell
years
him for
ago,
big
no
money.
one knew of him.
No one knew of him, and now he's the fulcrum in that midfield of Lazio. So for me, I think that you've got to then look at the dugout, and Simone Inzaghi is doing a phenomenal job.
He's doing a phenomenal job, Alois, and for Lazio, you know, the one thing that they do have is a reliable goal scorer in Ciro Immobile. He is the leading goal scorer in the league, and if you are to challenge for honours, usually you need a striker who can compete at the very top of the scoring charts.
Yeah, you can't win the league if you are not scoring, and all the time the league champions, they will produce the top scorer most of the time, or they will produce a scorer that is consistent. You know, consistency is key. You might not be scoring 2-3 goals a match, but you want that one, that when the chips are down, if it's 0-0, you want to win 1-0, and that one comes to the party. You know, when you were talking about it, I look at Liverpool, I look at Sadio Mane. He comes to the party when he is needed. He doesn't have to be the league top goal scorer, but he comes in for that.
Scores crucial goals.
Yes, the
Fabinho scores crucial goals as well.
The consistency, yes. So Chile is actually the consistent scorer for Lazio, and he is doing it regularly and at the same time scoring important goals. So they owe a lot to him. But as a team, like Barry said, I think they've built a very, very strong team.
Barry, second league defeat for Antonio Conte's men internationally. They lost to Juventus. They've now lost to Lazio. They're direct rivals in the race for honours. Should they be concerned?
That's why they said he's sitting third, because you got to beat the ones who are in and about you. If you're to win the league, it's not so much the results below you. Those we can say, yeah, you're going to beat those.
You can match your competitors in those.
You can match your competitors, just match their results against those very teams. But when it comes to teams around you, beat them so that you're sitting on top of them at the end of the day. So Inter have only got themselves to blame.
Okay, let's take a look at key results out of Serie A. Goals from Paulo Dybala and Juan Cuadrado sent Juventus back to the top of Serie A with a 2-0 win over 10 men Brescia. Atalanta's Mario Palasic got the winner within seconds of coming off the bench as they took a huge step towards Champions League qualification by beating Roma 2-1. Your Serie A standings, Juve leads the way in first place on 57. 1 point below them is Lazio in second place. Internazionale are 3 points off the top in third place, and then Atalanta are in fourth. Roma are in fifth, and a surprise in sixth place is Hellas Verona on 35 points.
All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudence. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles at home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
Hey, Arsenal is on the show. Guess why? Mikel Arteta insists Arsenal's prospects of qualifying for the Champions League depend on their performance and not on Manchester City's ban from the competition. The Gunners boosted their European qualification hopes with a 4-0 rout of Newcastle, a result that came 2 days after City were expelled from all UEFA competitions for 2 seasons for serious breaches to the financial fair play regulation. Let's hear from Arteta.
We talked just before the game that we wanted to put draws into wins, you know, and the home form is going to be vital if we want to achieve anything important this season. So yes, it was a little bit slow, but the way they play with this low block that we talked about and everything is slowing down, you can get frustrated. But we started to manage the game better after 25 minutes. We at halftime we had a talk to do the things that we had to do, and we improved much more in the second half. I don't know, we want to go game by game because 10 days ago I was disappointed with the draw at Burnley and everything was looking so far behind, and a lot of things are going to happen. It's up to us how consistent we can be from now to the end of the season, and if we want to have a chance in the last 3 games, we have to put wins together.
Z
All right, three things. First of all, the Man City ban. We're not going to talk too much about that because we're going to have a special tomorrow. So don't miss the show tomorrow. We got a special on that Man City ban and the situation with UEFA. The second thing is fifth position now comes into play because of the ban, and fifth position will give you Champions League football. And the third thing is Arsenal. Let's start there. Arsenal, headed in the right direction or not?
They are. We said it. The very first time that they played under Arteta, we saw some changes. We were laughing the other day about the Brazilian, what's his name, the Brazilian defender?
David Luiz. Yeah.
David Luiz, yes. He has changed. Yeah. He is not that, he was prone to errors.
He was erratic.
He was erratic, shaking. But look at him right now. Yeah. Look at the way he is opening up for the ball. He's opening up, and they are... Actually, Arsenal are playing like Man City. If you watch Man City,
and they're always bound to, aren't they?
Yeah, they were always bound to. We were looking for that, but we didn't know if they had the same technical ability as the players at Man City. But surprisingly, they actually have. They're actually playing good football. The passing is slick, and I enjoyed one pass that I enjoyed the most. Was it from the one that was played back pass by Ozil, and it was hit first time to the left. It was ruled offside.
Yeah.
The linesman was too clever, but that move, that was brilliant.
Mike, I think to illustrate the point that Alois is making is that third goal. They counted 35 passes into the back of the net.
Yeah, every single Arsenal player with a touch.
With a touch. That's Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's Arsenal.
That's Arsenal. And listen, a lot of people were beginning to be critical of Mikel Arteta and say, Arsenal is not getting the right results. But we spoke of Arsenal 2 games into Arteta's reign, and we said we can already see what he's trying to achieve, and that for me is the mark of a decent coach, a coach whose work you can see without him needing to explain. You can see the changes, you can see the structure, you can see the style that he's bringing into play, and now this was the fruit of it. This was it clicking, this was it gelling, this was it coming together, and Arsenal produced a second half that was memorable. That was one of the best second half performances we've seen from the entire league this entire season.
And the second half belongs to the coach. Let's go on to the second point, which is the issue of fifth. And we're going to talk on that very, very quickly. Because of the Man City ban, fifth gives you Champions League football. That means that fifth Tottenham, sixth Sheffield United, Wolves, Everton, Man United, Arsenal all have something to fight for. It's going to be a blockbuster into the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all up for grabs. Manchester United were like complaining about being 6 points adrift of number 4. All of a sudden, the number 5 berth is actually another motivation. So it's going to be very, very fierce. It's going to be a very fierce fight for those 2 slots. It's not just number 5 now. Number 4 and 5 is going to be tied. Probably number 1, 2, 3 is going to be sorted, but 4 and 5 is going to be a fierce battle among maybe probably 5 teams fighting for those 2 slots.
That's going to be a tough one. While the rest of the Premier League results look like this, Liverpool took another stride towards the Premier League title as they overcame Norwich 1-0 in a blustery Carrow Road, thanks to Sadio Mane's second half strike. Mateo Vidra's stunning second half winner handed Burnley a gritty 2-1 victory at Southampton in a wet and windy conditions. Heung-min Son scored a dramatic stoppage time winner as Tottenham put significant pressure on Chelsea in the top 4 race with a 3-2 win at Aston Villa, and Wolves were held to a goalless draw with 10-man Leicester at Molineux after Willy Bolly's header was disallowed by VAR. Tonight's game at Stamford Bridge is a big one. Chelsea versus Manchester United, and for the reason we've just mentioned, Mike, 5th position up for grabs.
Yeah, 5th place is up for grabs, Barry, and the points that are separating Chelsea and Manchester United are just 6 points. So there's all to play for. 6 points is a gap that can be whittled away very quickly at this stage of the season. So this one here is a 6-pointer. This is a 6-pointer. If you didn't know what a 6-pointer was, this is it. Because if Man United win, they go on 38 points, and then all of a sudden they are what? 3 points behind Chelsea. But if Chelsea win, Chelsea now go 9 points ahead of Manchester United in 4th place. So all of a sudden Manchester United now is left realistically just pursuing 5th place. At the moment they've got the option of 4th and 5th. So they've got to win this game. This is a key game. Chelsea has struggled this season whenever they've played Manchester United. They've lost heavily in the Cup and lost heavily in the first match of the season. So psychologically, I think Manchester United have got an edge. They go to Stamford Bridge knowing that they can do the business over Frank Lampard's side. But Frank Lampard's side, they've got the players. They've got, I think, the home advantage, and they want to at least try and play for pride in this game. So it's all set up to be a cracking encounter.
Mike points out that Chelsea's got got a bit of a soft center, and it's between the ears. Can they get their mental game right for tonight so that Manchester United actually, number one, gets a game, and then number two, Chelsea has a good opportunity of prevailing in this time?
Yeah, they need to get their mental strength right. They need it. This is a game that they need it. You know why? Because they know that if they win this one, they more than likely secure their Champions League football, because they'll be 9 points ahead of Manchester United fighting for that slot. You know, they are the biggest challengers. Okay, there's Sheffield United, all right, okay, Sheffield United, but you know, teams
there's
like those,
Wolves.
they can just collapse, you know, but you don't want a team like Manchester United chasing you. You know, when it's Wolves, it's Sheffield United chasing you, you have this comfort that I know what they can lose anytime, any day. They can lose to Watford, they can lose anytime they can drop points. Yeah. But when it's a big team that is chasing you, then it becomes a problem. So they want to step on Manchester United and push them back. If they don't do it now, then it's going to be a struggle, because like Mike said, psychologically they haven't done well against big teams. Yeah. They struggle against big teams. So this is a chance for them to actually prove themselves and actually boost their mentality that we can actually win against big teams. So it's going to be a cracker for Manchester United. Obviously, like Mike said, they need to close that gap. Once they do that, they maintain those two slots possibility.
Okay, let's go to your predictions. We did ask for them, and it's over to Bulawayo. Privilege, good evening. You say, guys, it's obvious Man United will win 3-1. Goals from Martial, Fred and Mata. The big question is, will Mata even be selected? Because Barry, he's a player that seems, no matter how well he does, he's not a shoo-in in the United starting 11.
He's in and out of the team, and I think that it's a function of the way that he plays. He's one of those players who's a bit languid. He's not as fast as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to play, but in truth, I believe that his brain is good enough to have him on that field, because he picks out passes that nobody else sees.
Baba Anashe Patinwald has tuned in. He's got his prediction in. Chelsea 3, Manchester United 1. Thanks to UEFA, Man United will have to fight Jose Mourinho for 5th spot. I am backing Jose. So he's got no faith whatsoever in Manchester United.
Play next weekend,
more and more predictions coming in. Good evening, guys. I'm Simbarashe Chikukwa from Highfield. Manchester United to win 2-0. Bruno to score. What have you made of Bruno Fernandes so far, Alois Munjira?
He's a good player. You know, I can't say that he has slotted in well, but he has fairly, you can tell that, you know, he's a player that can actually develop into that team and actually grow, but he hasn't set the stage alight yet, but he's a good player.
I like him.
He's a very good
creative
player.
Creative
as well. Yes, he's a very good
He's being tipped to be on the score sheet today, so it's an interesting one. Lloyd in DZ, Shurukfambere Baba, Hans Blues all the way today. I back my team Chelsea to take all the 3 points today. Scoreline 2-0 in favor of Chelsea. That is Lloyd out in DZ. So very contrasting predictions from our listeners. It just shows you that this match is too tight to call, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not unreasonable.
In the words of the American general election back then, too close to call.
Too close to call, yes. Wolf Blitzer would say that. But it's not unreasonable to say that, because these two teams are evenly matched. They've had patchy results. They haven't been consistent, either of them. So for me, it's a coin toss. It's literally a coin toss.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wants it!
In Spain, Real Madrid's La Liga title bid took a dent after Zinedine Zidane's log leaders were held to a 2-2 draw at home to Celta Vigo that denied them all 3 points through a late strike from Santi Mina. Mina lashed onto a classy through ball from former Barcelona midfielder Denis Suarez and produced a clinical low finish to equalize in the 85th minute, trimming Real's lead over Barcelona to just 1 point. And now Real Madrid's manager Zinedine Zidane says the draw with Celta is painful.
De la segunda parte volvemos en el partido.
Painful, to be brutally honest. I thought the team gave a very big effort to try and win the game. After taking the lead and then 5 minutes from the end conceding the draw, it's not very good. But I'm very pleased for my team. It wasn't easy for us. First half, where we conceded a goal after 6 minutes, and then they closed themselves at the back, very defensively solid. The gap in the first half, we were trying to cross the ball too much, but in the second half, we did much better.
Real Madrid's lead trimmed at the top, Alois. This is the game that they should have won. You're playing Celta, you're playing at home. Celta is in relegation trouble. Barcelona is starting to get their act together. This is the game that they could ill afford to drop points in.
Yeah, I would say, Barcelona are now getting their act together. Like you say, they're getting closer, and you don't want a Barcelona chasing you. Just like we said the other time, that you don't want a bigger team chasing you. You would rather have a smaller team that is capable of dropping points at any time. Now, when you have Barcelona behind you, they are capable of going for 10, 11, 12 games without losing or even winning all games. So you need to keep your momentum. You need to keep the gap up. And now it's 1 point. It becomes very, very dangerous. And one more slip up, Barcelona shoots up and they get consistency, and the league championship is gone.
The league championship is certainly there for the fight. Barcelona, they won 2-1 versus Getafe, and Atletico Madrid were held to a 2-2 draw by Valencia. And of course, that in preparation for tomorrow's Champions League clash with Liverpool.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
Now, Borussia Dortmund scored 3 second-half goals as they crushed Eintracht Frankfurt 4-0 in the Bundesliga on Friday night to maintain their title challenge. Dortmund's dominant performance was exactly what they needed ahead of their Champions League round of 16 first leg against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday, after suffering a 4-3 loss to Bayer Leverkusen last week and a shock German Cup defeat to Werder Bremen 10 days ago. Borussia Dortmund manager Lucien Favre was very happy, as you'd imagine, after the win.
After a 4-0 win over Frankfurt, you can only be very, very happy. It was well deserved. Don't forget, Frankfurt have had a very good start to the season until now. We played well. The first goal happened late from Lukas Piszczek with his left foot. It was good for him and for the team to go into the break with the lead.
The key results out of the Bundesliga: Robert Lewandowski, Kingsley Coman and Serge Gnabry all struck early on as Bayern raced out of the blocks en route to a 4-1 victory over Cologne. That saw them move above Red Bull Leipzig again in the standings. Red Bull Leipzig themselves eased past struggling Werder Bremen 3-0 on Saturday as they stay 2 points behind log leaders Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich sitting on 46 points atop the standings. Leipzig is in second, 1 point behind them, that's on 45. Borussia Dortmund is on 42, they're in third position, and Borussia Mönchengladbach is in fourth position on 42 points.
We are your station of choice, the People's Station, ZiFM Stereo.
Just a reminder that we will be holding the draw for the Palenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge Daily Sports Trivia next week on Friday. If you were a winner, you don't want to miss out on that. We'll be giving away not 1, not 3, not 5, but 7 fantastic prizes. So that happens next week on Friday, the last Friday of the month. And now, guys, as we wrap up the show, 2 concerning developments in Europe. In fact, more than 2 actually, because there were other stories out of England. But a story out of Germany, and one out of Portugal. You know, the racist incidents, and both of them dealt with in very contrasting ways. In Germany, fans united to chant Nazis out as a single fan who made monkey noises at a black player was identified and removed from the ground during a third-tier match. And then in Portugal, there was, of course, that widely publicized incident with Musa Mariga, who walked off, substituted himself after racist abuse versus Victoria Guimarães, and his teammates trying to get him to stay on the field of play. The coach looking like he was more concerned with trying to get a substitute on the field of play than the welfare, the well-being of his player. That is very concerning, isn't it, Alois?
Yeah, I was very concerned, especially the attitude of the coach. At a time when you want to sympathize with what is happening with your player and to show the world, actually, that what has happened is not good. That we care. Yes, we are concerned about this. He didn't. He just wants to get it on and get on with it. The teammates as well, they tried. Yes, they tried to get him on. But for me, I actually think that the teammates could have actually said, we are walking away with him.
That's what I think, Barry, that they should have stood with him in solidarity, because that was nasty. You could tell the player was distraught. The player did not want to continue, and they could have made a definitive stand. Porto is the third biggest club in Portugal. Yes. For those that don't know, behind Benfica and Sporting Club. They're a big club, heavyweight, and I think their currency actually in Europe, Porto, is probably more than the other two. They could have made a definitive stand against racism.
Missed opportunity, and like you said, contrasting with the German story, where the opportunity was seized by the entire stadium.
As soon as the chance came in, the fans themselves,
they turned on that one fan who was
identified him.
Exactly, and that's what you need. So Porto had a chance to make a definitive stand, and in truth, they would have been in the news today still, but for the right reasons, as a team that stood up against racism and said no to those the racism that their teammate was suffering. But they all focused on the game more so than what was happening with their teammate.
And for the referee, Alois, to give a yellow card to Marega, again, showing again the complicity of match officials. Because you've got to take time to understand the player. You've got to take time to manage the situation rather than trying to assert yourself and the law and your authority over the game.
Yeah, you need to be human. You need to have the human mind. You need to have the compassionate. You need to understand the empathy. This is the situation.
Yes.
He is not being indisciplined. He has been affected psychologically by what is happening. So you need to be a coach,
a human being first,
psychologically, to actually understand why is he doing this. Could actually go and get an arm around him and ask him what exactly is happening.
What he says, Barry, is exactly what happened in Germany.
Yes.
The referee actually went and put his hand around the player and said, listen, we are with you.
We're with
the
you.
opposition players all came. They stood with the player, his own teammates as well. So you could tell the entire stadium was together with the player who was abused in Germany.
And you see, that's seizing the initiative. But when in doubt, and you can't seize the initiative, there is the UEFA protocol on racism. The referee, instead of giving him a yellow card, just follow the protocol. Make the stadium announcement on the tannoy, and make sure that the stadium knows that it's not going to be. They're not going to go for it.
Okay, big story, that one, and of course it is continuing to be interesting to see which way the Portuguese Football Federation reacts to all this, and more importantly, if there's going to be any leadership that's going to come through from Zurich as far as UEFA is concerned. We have had our say on ZiFM Sport. Do catch us tomorrow, 6:05.
God bless. Have a fantastic evening. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.